Hey YouTube, it's your boy Danny, and I have another deck profile for you. It's also going to be Lair of Darkness themed. Also by fan request, pure version of it. This isn't the exact build I want to play, but this is what I have right now, and this is what will work for now. I'm gonna play an artifact engine pretty soon once I get my artifacts in. If you saw my last video about DDD Darkest Diablos, this deck will be a little bit more consistent, a little bit more well-rounded, and a little bit more grounded. And it's basically the same premise as before, as what I said. You want to mess with your opponent, you want to get at your opponent, and you want to dig under their skin, and you want to really just mess with them. So to start off, because this is basically Darkest Diabolos Turbo, is we're playing 3 Darkest Diabolos, Lord of the Lair. As we can see here, the boss monster of the deck. In my last video, I talked about how he's a brick. In that version, yes, he is a brick, but in the pure version, he's not a brick at all. You're always tributing something, you're always getting something off. You're always going to have effects going off, and it's not a problem to play Diabolos at all. Like, he's really good. So basically, for those who haven't seen or don't know about Darkest Diabolos, I will tell you, when he's in the hand or when he's in grave, he can be special summoned out of grave or hand when a card is tributed. So that's a pretty powerful effect. And then also he has another effect that you contribute one card with him. You contribute one card, and then you can send a card from your opponent's hand to the bottom of their deck or the top of their deck. It's up to you. But Darkest Diabolos, play it in 3, and if you're gonna play the pure version. Up next I have his partners in crime, 3 Lilith, Lady of Lament. So what she does is she's pretty much the turbo version, like she's the turbo of this deck. She will let you reveal 3 by tributing a dark monster. It will let you reveal 3 traps, and you get to set one at random that your opponent picks. So play her. I would play her either in 2s or 3s, but not 1s, because she kind of is the lifeblood of this deck. And the reason I say play 2 of her, because I've noticed she can brick. Even though you contribute herself, you don't always want to tribute just her. And she's a 2k body that goes down to 1k when she's normal summoned, but that's not a problem. Like, that can always be mitigated. Up next we have Arima, who Arima can be tributed or tribute a dark monster to draw a card, and then he can be pitched to add a Lair of Darkness, which is why we're not playing Terraforming. Terraforming would be good. It would really help out. In fact, I would say take out either one of the Arimas or one of the Lair of Darknesses to add in a Terraforming. But as of now, I'm gonna play with 3 Arimas. I like Arima. I like his effect more than I like Lilith's, because the draw effect really does help out. It really gets you going, and it can really get your Diabolos plays going too. The only problem with Diabolos and Arima is if you draw a Diabolos, you don't get to special summon it, because his effect states he has to be in hand at the time. So up next I play 3 Armageddon Knights, because this deck wants to dump everything in the graveyard. It wants Diabolos in grave. It just wants everything in grave, like everything that it can think of. Just be careful, because I'm playing some tech cards in here for Fiends exclusively. This is a warrior type, not a Fiend, but he will save you and he will help you out. He's a dark target, so he's pretty good. I play along in tandem with him too. Blue Mountain Butterspy. He has another dark target that that when you summon a warrior type monster, you can special summon this. It's basically so that you can special summon this out with Armageddon Knight in tandem, working with each other. It's also a target like to be dumped, like it's discard fodder. It's banish fodder, just to get around banishment with the Allure of Darkness. Up next, I have my Destrudo. I run one Destrudo, and then we're playing one tour guide from the Underworld. And if you have Sangan, please play Sangan. I would like to see people play Sangan. This is a very, very good tech card. I don't have a Sangan. I don't own any Sangans, actually, which is weird because I have like a 5K. For those who don't know what a 5K is, basically 5,000 cards, you know, like lying around. But these cards are pretty good. You can tribute her. You can get Lady Lilith, and Lady Lilith will have a 2K body. You have your Destrudo, which isn't bad. He helps out. So up next is the little tech cards, I guess, that you could just play. I'm playing 2 Gamma Seals, 2 Gammas. You can play Gamma Seal, you can play Raijin. These next 5 cards, I would say, play Kaijus that you want to play. So I'm playing Gamma Seals. I play Gamma Seals because they're level 8 for the rank 8 plays. And just in case, like, I summon one to my opponent's side, special summon to the other side if I have them both in hand. But you can do a lot of different things. Like, there's a lot of different cards that you can play, a lot of different aspects. And I really don't mind having the Kaiju package in here. But up next, I play one Phantom Skyblaster. So this is an interesting card that that I really like a lot, that I just pulled today, actually. It's a fresh pull. When you normal summon him, he... how do I say it? He special summons tokens up to the number of monsters you control. So if you have one Phantom Skyblaster, you get one Phantom Skyblaster token. If you have 2 monsters in the field, you get 2 Phantom Skyblaster tokens. So that's how he works. He's a pretty good card. And then also he does burn damage during your standby phase. You can inflict 300 points of damage for each Skyblaster monster you control. If you activate that effect, it can't attack. But it's pretty important. He's level 4. He's a fiend. And he gives you tokens that are fiends. And the tokens can be linked away with. But the tokens pretty much want to be used for this tech card. For Raviel, the Lord of Phantasms, 3 fiend monsters, and you can special summon him that way. And cannot be special summoned by other ways. And then each time your opponent normal summons a monster, you can special summon 1 Phantasm token. For each monster, special summon... let me see. These tokens cannot declare an attack, and once per turn you contribute 1 monster. This card gains attack equal to the original attack of the attributed monster until the end of the turn. So he's a very good tech card. The tributing aspect of him works as alongside of Darkest Diabolos. Diabolos also can't be tributed by your opponent's effects, so that's interesting, and it's also helped out. Just keep that in mind. But the Lord of Phantasms, I think, is an interesting tech card that a lot of people won't see coming, that I'm gonna play in the future versions as well. I may even bump it up to 3 just to test it out and see what I can do with it. The only card that I would say is in question is the Blue Mountain Butterspy. It's probably the only card that I would take out 1 for Sangan and then 1 for Skarm, and run a rank 3 engine in here. Up next for our spells, we have 3 Lair of Darkness. Take out 1 Lair of Darkness to add a terraforming. Play how you want to play. Play the deck how you want to play it. Take out 1 Arima for terraforming, like I was saying. There's a lot of options that you have for getting to this card. Arima is one, Terraforming is one. Instead of playing 3 Lair of Darkness, I cut it down to 2 because you want your dark monsters in hand. It just kind of helps out. Up next is Foolish Burial. You could take Foolish Burial out for a 3rd Lair of Darkness, but Foolish Burial will help you out. It'll get your cards engraved that you need. It'll get your Darkest Diaboloses out. And up next we have Monster Reborn. We have Soul Charge. Those are kind of self-explanatory. And then in my last build, I didn't explain it, but I don't know if you all noticed, I didn't play Called by the Grave. But in this build, I want to say that you should play Called by the Grave. In the last one, I didn't play Called by the Grave because there's not a lot that you have to worry about. Even if your DD monsters get stopped, it's not like it's game breaking. It's just a minor inconvenience. That deck can play through hell, basically. This deck can play through them, but you're playing the Called by the Graves more for the stun aspect of getting under your opponent's skin and getting rid of their combo pieces. Up next, what Darkest Diabolos deck wouldn't be complete without 3 Torrential Tributes? This card is be all end all, like I said. You set it with Lady of Lament. And this time we're playing 9 cards, and I'm playing the 3 viruses again because I couldn't decide what trap cards I wanted to play in. And then we're playing 3 of the Grinning Grave virus, which I actually kind of wanted to play just to try it out against Thunder Dragons. And you tribute 1 dark monster with 3,000 or less attack points, and your opponent destroys 1 card of their choice in their hand or deck for every 500 attack that monster has on the field. If you tributed a monster with 2,000 or more attack, you can activate the following effect. Look at all cards your opponent draws until the end of the 3rd turn after the activation of this card and destroy all monsters among them. Cards destroyed, sent to the graveyard by this effect, cannot activate their own effects at the same turn. So this is an interesting card. It's probably not the best to play in tandem. It's the weakest of the viruses, I'd say, but it's a good card to have. Just some honorable mentions are the Mirror Forces, the Bottomless Trap Holes. Some honorable mentions for traps are the Artifacts. You could even play some other cards that I have here that I wanted to put in are like Fiendish Rhino Warrior. That's another card that could go in. We have Zephyros. At one point I was even playing Gores, like people say that like you've reached the bottom of the barrel once you have to play Gores, or like you've reached the end of the deck's life or you have to play Gores, but Gores in this deck is actually pretty good. Pot of Duality is also a very good choice. You could play Pot of Dualities. I have a couple right here. Another trap card that I could talk about is the Dimensional Prison. That's a really good one. I don't want this video to get too long, but I will say for the extra deck, definitely play Wee Witch. Play a rank 4 engine, play a rank 3 engine, play your Dantes, play your Break Swords, get your Utopia package. I don't know if you can see that there, the Lightning and regular Utopia. Have your tokens ready because tokens. This deck makes tokens for days. And just be prepared to play against this deck. Its popularity is rising. It wasn't as popular as it came out. People thought it was going to be game breaking and that it had a short life. But play this deck how you want to play it. Take my build as a stepping stone and take my techs as in fact, I'm honestly going to go ahead and say don't play Blue Mountain Butter Spy in post. I think, now that I think about it, I want to play 2 Pot of Dualities instead, because this deck isn't always special summoning. But anyway, I'll try the Blue Mountain Butter Spy. I'll let you all know how it works and how we can do things. As for that, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, Bernardo Molina, for the idea of this deck. I'm sorry it took so long. The mail system just wasn't on my side. Be on the lookout for our Dino Wrestler profile. We also have a Salmon Great profile. We're going to have an Orcust profile. And if we get around to it, if we get enough money, we're going to do a Thunder Dragon profile. And we're going to do an Invoked Thunder Dragon profile. And those are just some things to look out on the rise. Happy Halloween, guys. These are the Halloween decks. All the decks this month have been themed by Halloween. We have Mr. Pumpkin, and then we have my cat, Julio Jr. And then we have the terrifying Gengar dice, the spooky Gengar dice. But anyway, guys, that's all I have to say. I'm going to go ahead and sign off from here. Like, comment, and subscribe. Donate. Get it your boy. And most importantly, catch us on turn 2.